welcome to my channel. We are back with part 2 of the Skeleton Hunter. And as you saw from the title, we will be going over the mentor. Last video we went over the apprentice, so if you haven't checked that out yet, go ahead and watch that and then come back over here. Now on to the mentor. His name is Tadanovo, and this character has 3 designs. The first 2 weren't bad as in design process, but the last one was a bit of a challenge, but we'll talk about the last one later. Tadanovo is a pretty cool guy. He takes care of his responsibilities. He can be very sarcastic and have a little sass and can be a little bit petty, but he can sometimes show off at some point as well. But he knows his limits and when there's a time to be serious, and then he knows when there's a time to just enjoy and have fun. When he is teaching, he can be pretty strict. It also goes along with his training as well. He takes it very seriously because when being a hunter, your life can always be at risk. And it's always good to be prepared and to have the skills to survive and win against any adversaries. His first design, I feel like it should be a type of monk type fit, if that makes sense. And he's always trying to find peace in his life because he dealt with tragedy and made big mistakes in his life, and that he tries to focus on bettering himself. And I went for cooler colors because I felt like that was fit for him personally during this phase. And we'll talk a little bit more about his background in just a moment, but overall I like the design, and most of his designs are based off his personality and what he's going through and how he's feeling. He has a big family. I think I mentioned it in the last video, and that he really values family, and he really values trust a lot. And of course he has the bees. That's also his signature and one of the most important pieces in his design. Okay, on to phase 2. I used the old sketch to make the next design. I also did this with the last one just to save myself some time so I wouldn't have to restart the whole thing. The biggest thing about this character is that he has a huge falling off with pretty much everyone during this phase, especially after the incident with him and his apprentice of the high-ranking leader had ended up betraying him. So into going in that dungeon that I mentioned in the last video, the other society, the betrayers, thought that Kame and Tadanovo were dead for a while until he came back and confronted him. And he ended up finding out that there were so many people that were close to him that were involved in the incident of that accident, and found out even more about his family, his late wife, and his child's death. I know that's a lot, but I'll explain in a few minutes. So let's go back actually right now. A few years back, he was a troubled kid, and when he got older, he started to get his act together, and he started being a hunter. And he met a woman he fell in love with, and he married her. During that time of their marriage, she knew about his apprentice's situation, and they both decided to take Kame in. And a little later, the wife ended up being pregnant, and then she had the child, and which made Tenenova and his wife grow a relationship grow even stronger, and they grew even closer to each other. And after the child's birth, Kame, the apprentice moved in uh, with his cousin. Now his cousin's name is Pearl. She will be an important character uh, later, but unfortunately, when he was gone and no one was there, and besides the wife and the baby, an unfortunate accident that happened at his home where his family died by a fire beast. It also destroyed many villages and other families, and it before him and his apprentice finally took it down, keeping it from destroying or hurting any more people. It took a long time for Tenenova to let all his friends and family back into his life. He took a break from being a hunter, feeling that the hunter society was neglectful, and during this time he was speaking in grief. And after 2 years, he started to finally heal, and he was able to show a bit of himself again, even after the tragedy. So back into the future, uh, he found out that many of the hunter society willingly allowing dangerous beasts to be released in towns, villages, and kingdoms to make more money and to gain more power. And with some of the strongest beasts in the world, a hunter can control the beast or take the beast's power and upgrade to their own powers. So Tenenova had every right to be angry and to crash out, and he tried fighting them all at once the first time, but it didn't go out as he planned. But he was able to release the animals they captured during that fight, and many of his beads were shattered, and I wanted the beads to represent like his broken relationships and his broken trust. And it's that's what I felt like that'd be cool design to implement of what he's going through right now. And for him, after he escaped, he he wanted revenge, and so he ended up starting a war with the Hunter Society. And I think I said in the last video as well, he had acquired some of the same corruption as Kame did, but it affected him differently, and it took his anger to an extreme where not only his enemies were taken down, but he was fighting anybody and everybody that was in his way. And at this phase, he didn't really care or trusted anybody. He even fought his own family for trying to stop him with having this war. The corruption also affected his body and his appearance. So the longer he had this corruption, the more permanent effects he had on his body. After a long period of time, he was finally able to be stopped, and the third party that helped Kame was able to help him as well. But most of the effects that were on him weren't able to change, but he was back to himself personality wise. And as a result, there wasn't a hunter society anymore, but a brand new hunter organization that wasn't corrupted, and that not only that they defeat beasts, but also help protect not only protect people, but help beasts and creatures that were in danger, or just to protect the ecosystem. Phase 3, I think the last design was the hardest design to create. When I first created this, I tried to do the same thing I did with design to make the process go faster, but it didn't really go as planned, so I ended up having some changes. And I wanted to go in a completely different direction compared to the last two designs. His build is bigger. He is a little taller, and he's more beastly like. That's the best way I can describe him, especially with the lower fangs. And if you saw in in the second phase, he has like a tooth kind of growing underneath, uh, like a fang underneath. But of course, after the Hunter War, he had to have some discipline because he was causing chaos, and that incident put a lot of people in danger. But at the end, it wasn't as harsh because of the corruption he had, and that he had to be. His punishment was that he had to be in full cooperation with the new society, and he was very limited on hunting, and he's pretty much on parole. He's pretty much on parole, and in this current phase, he is on his redemption arc, and he is trying to better himself, and he has, I think, after everything, he learned from everything, and he has but this brand new confidence in him, that when he's getting better at healing with his emotional wounds. And I wanted him to be a little more flashy this time around, with the red robes and with the shimmer in them. And I wanted to show that everything he's been through, he's has more confidence, and he's a little bit more, I guess, proud of himself. Like, he still has the humility, but I wanted him to be a bit more outgoing. But he still has, of course, he still has a long way to go still. Trying to work on trusting people again. And I wanted to show that through the beads a bit, where there's way less beads than what he had before, but he still have the beads in the first place, so there's not many shattered beads. So he started to gain trust and just to have that family culture again, family tradition, I mean. And a hint where there's more room for him to grow. I think this is my favorite design. I really like the flashy look, and I really love this character, and both him and his apprentice story. I'm looking forward to part 3, which will hopefully come out in November. So yeah, I think that's it. I just want to thank all of you so much for watching. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe, and comment too. And I'll see you next time. Bye.